I'm going to make this video on one way that I think helps to simplify fractions. So in order to use this method, you need to know this fact, that any number divided by itself, if you have a fraction with the number and the top and bottom are the same, equals 1. So 7 over 7 is 1, 10 over 10 is 1. Another thing you need to know is when I multiply a number like 17 and I prop it up with a stick and I multiply it by its multiplicative inverse, so 1 over 17, when I multiply those straight across, I'm going to get 17 over 17, which equals 1. So you need to know that first so that we can go on to the next thing you need to know. The next thing you need to know in order for this to work is how we really multiply fractions. So when we multiply fractions, we multiply the top times the top, so that the numerator becomes 2 times 1, and the denominator becomes 3 times 5. So rather than just writing the answer, I'm going to write the math that we're doing. So that's actually what's happening in the numerator. So I can write the numerator as an expression of 2 times 1, and the denominator as an expression of 3 times 5. And then I'm going to simplify that, and the answer is 2/15. So that's how we multiply fractions. We're really creating a multiplication problem in the numerator and a multiplication problem in the denominator. So, okay, so now you have those two facts. Let's go to the next thing. So what I do when I simplify, or one way to simplify fractions, is I think of the numerator and denominator, and I'm going to break it up into those multiplication problems. And I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to say self, something times something is 14. Well, I know that 14 is 2 times 7. Now I'm going to ask myself, okay, can I use 2 times something and get 28? 2 times 14 is 28. That's good. Now I can say, is 7 times something 28? Well, 7 times 4 is 28. So I'm going to use the 7, it's bigger. So I'm going to do 4 times 7 is 28. So let's go back. So 2 times 7 is 14. 7 times 4 is 28. Okay, so what I did was I split them into a multiplication problem. Now I'm going to see that right here. This is 7 over 7. We know 7 over 7 just equals 1. That was back on the second slide we did. So that means what I have left over when I cross out those 7s is 2 over 4. Now I can do this again because they're both even, or I can just know that 2 over 4 is 1/2. So really, 14 is half of 28. Okay, so you can pause here and try that with 150, and then I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so 150 and 45. I can pick either one to start with. So I'm going to start with 150 because it's easy. I know that 15 times 10 is 150 because there's 15 and a 0 in the back. So something times something is 45. Is 10 times something 45? No, that's not a fact. Is 15 times something 45? If I think about time, and I think about 45 minutes, there are 3 15-minute intervals that make 45 minutes. So 3 times 15 is 45. If that didn't come naturally to you and you weren't sure, then you would go back and try 45, like maybe 9 times 45, and kind of work from there and see what you could get. But now the way it's written, see how my 15s are here and they're the same? I'm going to rewrite it. So it's 15 over 15 times 10, and here's times 3. So now I have these two numbers are the same, and they're gone, and I just have 10 over 3 left. Well, that is an improper fraction, so there are 3 3's inside of 10, because 3 times 3 is 9, with 1 left over, so 3 1/3 is my answer. Okay, so the way that I, just kind of sum it all up, the way that I simplify fractions is I think of it like this. I think of something times something, and I start with either number. Like I'll start with 20. Something times something is 20. 2 times 10 is 20. Then I ask myself, and I want to try to use one of these numbers, either 2 or 10, to make 24. Is 2 times something 24? Yeah, 2 times 12 is 24. So now I can cross out the 2's because they're the same. They become 1. Now I'm left with 10 over 12. But since they're both even, I can try and do it again. So when I notice a number's even, I know that means 2 goes into it. That means 2 times something has to be 10. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times something has to be 12. 2 times 6 is 12. I'm crossing out the numbers that are the same. B can become 1. And now I have 5/6 as my answer. So that's one way to simplify fractions. There's lots of ways, but if this way helps you, then that's great. Have a great day.